Hey, if you watched my video yesterday, you're aware that I have been out recently shooting my Smith & Wesson 329 PD quite a bit lately. And I'm going to have to say, this gun is a little bit abusive. Now, it's not the gun itself. The 44 Magnum does have quite a bit of kick and can be slightly abusive, as you saw in my video yesterday. Don't worry, I got better. But what's really giving me a problem with this gun is the grip. I really don't care for the grips on this gun. Now, the problem isn't really that the grips aren't good grips, because I love the grips on my Smith & Wesson 327 PC, which is basically the same frame size as the 329 PD. Love these grips on this gun. They're awesome. They look good. They feel good, and they help me control the gun. They're perfect on the 357 Magnum, just not so much on the 44. Now, what I don't like about these grips on this gun isn't anything to do really with the way they look or the way they grip or anything like that. It's got to do with the fact that they're kind of small for a 44 Magnum. They work great on that 357 Magnum, but on the 44 Magnum, they just aren't perfect for me. One, there's not enough real estate here. They're kind of a slim line grip. I want something that has a little bit more room back here so I can get my hand on a little bit more of the grip. And the finger grooves on this keep me from putting my hand high enough. If I go into the grooves, it pushes my hand a little low. I want my hand higher on the grip, so I decided I need to replace these grips. So I decided to go out and get a pair of grips that don't have finger grooves, and they convert the round butt to a square butt here, so I've got a little bit more real estate to get my hands on. Now, before I put these on this gun, I'm going to have to do a few things to them. One, I'm going to have to cut down the grips, because I had to cut these down so that it didn't cover up the little logo on the side of the gun here. So I'm going to have to do the same to these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that using these as a template, and then I'm going to put these ones on there and see if it helps with shooting this gun and managing that recoil a little bit. First thing I'm going to have to do is get these grips off so that I can actually use them as a template for the other grips. Let's hope they want to come off easy. This right here is why I always keep a little plastic pry bar around. A little polymer pry bar really helps with things like this without scratching your gun up. As you can see here, the difference in the contours of the tops of the two grips, I've got to make this grip like this grip. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, then we'll get them on the gun and see if it helps me manage that recoil any. Just lining them up here and then using a little Sharpie blade here to scratch a little reference line, and then I'll start removing material. Okay, I'm just using a little drum sander bit on my power drill here to take off that material. Just do it a little bit at a time until you got it right. You can use a Dremel if you want, but this is so much quicker. Oh, and don't breathe in that G10 dust. That stuff's nasty. That has just about got it. Just got to lower it just a little bit right here in the middle. All right, I got it pretty close here. The rest I can do by hand so that I don't take off too much. Some 500 grit sandpaper will do the trick just fine. Okay, I got this side all shaped and sanded down, and I cleaned up this side here also because their lines are kind of sharp when they do it. It doesn't look like they finish it after they just mill it away. So cleaned up both sides, reshaped this one and cleaned it up. And now let's put them on the gun and see how they do. Let's not forget to put our pin in our grip. All right, once I got all the pins in there and I've got this in here, let's just put the screw back in. All right, the new grips are on there, so let's go shoot them a bit and see if they make any difference. And just for the record out there, for people who want to know, I'll be shooting Underwood Extreme Penetrators, the 220 grain round that's traveling at about 1,500 feet per second and delivering over 1,100 foot-pounds of energy. I figure if you're going to test some grips, you might as well test them with some hot ammo. And I'm also going to be doing it TV style and movie style, which means you're not going to see any reloads. This is going to be one of those 18-round revolvers that we see so often on the silver screen. Swinging. All right, I took it down to the range and I put about 60 rounds through this gun over the last 2 days with the new grips on it. And I know you can't tell much from the video. That's why I don't post a lot of shooting video. You can't really tell anything, but it was much easier to handle. My grip is much more comfortable on this gun with the new actual grips on there, the new VZ grips. I've got more real estate to get my hands on. I can really get a better grip on the gun. Now, I tried a thumbed tucked method to shoot, and I'm going to go back to my single action method with this big gun because it's just really necessary. Because when I was trying to do the tucked thumb, I kept finding my thumb slipping off. But, you know, try something new, learn something new. But overall, I'm going to say these grips made a huge difference. Now, you might notice I was using a glove there, but that's because these grips are very grippy, which I thought was kind of needed with this gun. And I didn't want to lose any skin just to practice. Now, if I ever have to use the gun in self-defense against a bear or whatever, or a person, I'm not going to care if I lose a little skin on my hand. Won't even notice at the time. And I'll be too deaf from shooting this to hear myself cry, so it won't be a big deal. But just wanted to make this video to show you, if you've got a big bore gun, especially a revolver, and you love the gun, but you just can't get a good grip on it, doesn't feel right in your hand, sometimes it's just the grips, not the gun. Grips can make a big difference, especially on revolvers, where it can completely alter the entire shape of the grip. You can buy some grips on semi-autos that change the, the texture, change the shape, wraparounds, etc. But with revolvers, you can just completely alter the shape of the grip. They offer such a wide variety of different types of grips for revolvers. So if you've got a big bore gun and you like it, but you're having trouble holding on to it, before you get rid of the gun, change out the grips. Grips aren't that expensive, and often they can be the thing that makes the difference. Oops.
Go ahead.
It's a lady at 46 South Road. 46 South Road.
Greenfield. Station 1 call, retone that please. 10-4. Got the 4 to go to that location also. This is 19, is that correct?
Sorry,